Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I'm your host, Piers Austin, and today I'm going to be very blessed to bring you KC Navarro, who is the current reigning CZW Wired television champion. He is one of the best up-and-coming professional wrestlers on the independent circuit, and he is destined for some great things, ladies and gentlemen. But before I bring on Mr. KC Navarro, I just want to thank a few people. Firstly, I would like to thank WCW Nation, Generational Wrestling Society, and Wrestling Maniacs for allowing me to stream this interview in their groups. I'd also like to thank my good buddy, Mikey Mados, who makes all of this lovely imagery that you see before my shows for our lovely guests. Now, I'd like to just make a quick mention for our sponsors. Signal Studios, which is a recording studio here in Sydney, Australia. They can make any music, beats, tunes that you'd like. If you're a professional wrestler, you'd like a new entrance music, hit up my boy Rafi. He can do it all. If you just want some music that you want to write your own song to while you're in quarantine, he can do that as well and send it straight out to you worldwide. Next is Mayan Belts. Mayan Belts make the best championship belts in the world, ladies and gentlemen. If you want a custom championship belt, or you want a replica of your favorite championship belt, hit up Eddie and Ira Williams on Facebook. You can find Mayan Belts on Facebook. Next, we have A-Rock Designs. A-Rock Designs is a company run by my good friend, Ashley Rodriguez. She makes custom wrestling tumblers, cups, hoodies, T-shirts, keychains. You name it, she can make it. They can even monogram your dog. Apparently, that's what Big Kev said, but he doesn't recommend it. But definitely go over there and hit up A-Rock. And she also does stuff that isn't necessarily wrestling designs. I got about 3 cups coming in from her, and I can't wait. And last but not least is Immortal Restoning. Jeff Parthay opened up his Immortal Restoning business. And if you've got an old championship belt that needs a little bit of a facelift, needs some new stones replaced, or has some stones missing, hit up Jeff Parthay. He'll be able to get that belt looking brand new and perfect for you guys. But without further ado, I'm going to bring out to you Mr. KC Blessed Navarro. My man, what's going on?
Yes, sir. We're in the
How are
building
you?
right now. Blessing
Oh,
the world
yeah.
right now.
How you doing?
Man?
I'm good, man. You good?
Yeah, man. I'm blessed. I'm always blessed.
That is awesome, bro. And you know what? I'm excited to have you on, man, because I've been watching your career the last couple years, and you know, man, you've just come leaps and bounds to seeing you competing on Dojo Wars, now being on the main card with CZW, and to actually be holding one of their their secondary championship.
Talk about this bad boy right here. Yeah.
Oh, look at that! What we're actually a couple of the Facebook groups we're in belt collector groups. So why don't you show that belt off, man? I'll make it on full screen so you can show it off.
You see this, everybody? You seeing this title right here? This is the all new CZW Blessed Worldwide Championship right here. There it is. Beautiful. And now it's blessed.
And now it's blessed. That's it, man. So, one thing, Casey, you started training at a pretty young age, man. Like you were 15 years old.
Yes, sir.
And at what age were you like, man, professional wrestling is my be all and end all, man. Like that's what I want to do. That's who I want to be.
So I think it really started at a very young age for me. I mean, I remember being like a baby in my dad's arms, just watching it before he left for the military when I was 2. And it just, every time I watched it, it just made me feel like my dad was home. And I think it was about when I was like 3, between the ages of 3 and 5. So I guess 4, I knew like it was wrestling all the way. And then it stuck with me. And when I was 15, I got that opportunity, man.
And obviously, you mentioned your dad being in the military, and being in military, you have a very regimented sort of lifestyle and discipline. Did you grow up with a very strict regiment and discipline lifestyle, or was it pretty much a little bit? Your dad sort of wanted to have a bit more relaxed for you.
So my dad really wanted it relaxed for me. He also was traveling so much. Like now with me traveling wrestling, like now I totally get it. But like. Yeah, he really wanted me to just have a relaxing lifestyle. Being in the Army was something he always wanted to do. It was like a dream of his. But he didn't want to be that dad to be like, oh, because I was in the Army, you have to be in the Army. Like, he knew what I wanted to do. He knew it was wrestling. And I wasn't that kid that was, like, very athletic. Like, I was athletic, Like, I mean, you could see, like, when I'm in the ring. But, like, when it came to, like, certain sports, like I'm the only Dominican that can't play baseball. Like it just, sports just wasn't like the big thing for me, but being an entertainer was. And like wrestling was the fun mix of sports and entertainment. So that's where I really fit in. He saw that, so he let me have a relaxing life and just enjoy professional wrestling.
Yeah, nice. And when you decided to get into to pro wrestling and to dip your toe in, what was the conversation like with mum and dad? Were they like, yeah, you need to do this, or they're like,
Oh man, they were 110% in all the way, man. I
wow,
still remember it was like December of 2014. Me and one of my really good friends, Tyler, we went to a open house for the wrestling school, and I remember just going up to the head coach of the school and just going, man, like I know I'm only 15, but like this is really what I want to do with my life. Like this is all I want. Like I don't plan on going to college when I finish high school. Like wrestling's all I want. And he told me if I can have my parents sign the permission slip saying that if I get hurt, they can't get sued. They didn't care, and my family did it, and here I am now.
So starting out in professional wrestling and starting out very young as well, you're only a young guy at 20 years of age, and you're a 5-year ring vet. That's saying a lot. But starting out so young, did you find that some guys tried to take advantage of you in some ways in the ring, or did you find like the community really embraced you and took you in and tried to show you the way to be the best performer you could be?
I feel like for me, it was very, very 50-50. Like there was a good portion of guys that saw me, oh man, he's only like 5 foot and he's like 100 pounds soaking wet. I'm going to throw him around because I can't do it to this 250-pound guy next to me. And like, I mean, I got injured a lot in the beginning of my career from guys just like throwing me around and being super unsafe. I mean, there was one time where I got pop-up power bombed and from my neck down went paralyzed and I had to get rushed to the hospital. Thank God it was just a pinched nerve. But like, then I got lucky and fortunate to meet people that were like on TV or on the rise of getting to TV that really like took me under their wing and like showed me a lot of things. I mean, I'm not sure if you know Diamante. She used to be in LAX Impact. That's my sister. So
Really?
Yeah. So I've always had her to guide me. And for a long time, we weren't together a lot. Because she's way older than me. She's actually I don't even know her exact age. I want to say she's in her mid-20s. My sister. I don't want to offend her. So she'll kick my ass. So I want to say she's like in her mid-20s. But she's been doing this for just like as long as like 15. Like she started very early too. So like we're about like 10 years apart, 8 years apart. So she's 15. I'm super young. She doesn't want to hang out with me. She's traveling. I'm looking up to her and seeing what she's doing. So, I had her and a lot of her friends from TV guide me when I first came in. And I'm very fortunate for that because a lot of people, when they come in, they can't say like, oh, this person helped me. Like, for example, Leo Rush, who's just in the WWE, one of my biggest mentors as well. Always helped me, always was there for me, even when he was in NXT. Shane Strickland, another guy. So, I'm just very fortunate. But, like, yeah, for me, man, it was very, very 50-50 for me.
Yeah, right. And you mentioned Diamante being your sister, and I definitely do recall her in LAX, and man, she'd be a scary sister to have, man. I'd be afraid she'd be kicking
You have
my
no
ass.
idea. I'm still scared of her. Like they, for the first time in our whole careers, we wrestled each other last year, and it was so nerve wracking because I was so scared to do anything to her because there was one thing where she wanted me to like slap her. And I remember I shut it down immediately. I was like, no, I'm not slapping you. Are you crazy? Because I just knew if I slapped her, she would F me up. And I did not want to be embarrassed in front of like 200 people. But I mean, she is quite the intimidating sight. I don't know how Kiera Hogan puts up with her because that's her girlfriend. I don't know how she does it. But for me, I'm still frightened of my sister. I don't care if she's shorter than me. I'm still scared of her.
Were they promoting it as brother versus sister match, or were they no selling?
Oh yeah, it was big brother versus sister match because everybody knew how much of a big deal it was for me and her. And even when they announced it, like we kind of went ahead and like we started it like, oh, this is the first time it's brother versus sister. And then once title match got word of that and they posted it, like that was the title of that match. That was the name of the marquee, brother versus sister, first time ever. And it was really cool.
it makes sense to advertise it as that. You know what I mean? Like it definitely does. But and I think as well, siblings make the best sparring partners as well. You know, and when I had Dave Christ on, he said, "Oh man, me and my brother, we just beat the living brakes off each other." Like it's whenever that's sort of the case to wrestle each other. But is that what you found wrestling your sister? But you know, or was it like because it's your sister and obviously the age difference? You mentioned the respect.
My father and her mother wound up getting married later on. So like
Mhm.
it was really my dad that got me into it. But then when it was like, oh my god, my stepsister, because we're step siblings, it was like, whoa, my new sister is a wrestler. What? So then I used to mess with her when I was younger, just beat her up, and then she would slap me and I'd run away. But you know, it was really like my dad. But then once I saw that she did it, it was like, whoa, okay, I'm definitely going after this.
But it's almost like she softened the blow for your dad for you coming into the. You know what I mean? Obviously, she's gone through it. And he's like, well, you know, like she's done it, so now like it just makes sense. I
Right.
can't let the boy not do it. But
Exactly.
yeah. So tell us about your training. Like, obviously, you know, getting in there and taking the bumps, and one thing I always like to know is, you know, when you first take that first bump, was that something you went, oh, I didn't realize it was going to hurt that much, or was it more like, let's do that shit again?
Oh, 100% let's do that shit again, man. I took my first bump. I was so scared because like I saw what the ring was made of, and I was like, this is gonna hurt, and like my family's gonna kill me when I come home with bruises on my back and I can't walk. But I remember just taking that first bump and just like looking up and just going, whoa, that felt great. I want to do that shit again. This time I want to jump off the top rope. Like was how it felt for me. Like I got such a thrill out of that like it was actually that where it was the 100% moment where I was like, oh, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. Like that's it.
That's incredible. And yeah, one of the like very early on in your career, you were partnered up with another young up and coming wrestler, Jordan Oliver,
Right.
and you guys were tag team champs for a while. So is Jordan a guy that you've known for quite a while, or you know, were you friends before you got into business? Because I think you guys are from the same area, correct?
He's about like an hour north of me, but I'm gonna tell you the story of how I met this guy. So me and him, we were both in separate backyard federations in 2014. I was in one in New Jersey, he was in one in New York. And my friends, they were taking the backyard wrestling thing to another level. I was ready to start training. So I started training, and they called me about 2 months into my training. They were like, yo, KC, bro, we need you for this show that we're doing in New York. I go, what are you talking about, dude? I'm not wrestling in a trampoline no more. You're out of your mind. And they were like, no, man, this place has a ring. They have a kid that's really good. We need you to wrestle. I'm like, please, like, we won't post it anywhere. Like, please. Because at the time, it was very frowned upon in my school. Like, if you did backyard wrestling, like, it was like a huge problem. So I was like, okay, I'll do it for you guys one last time. I'm not doing it again. And they're like, okay. So we took the 2 hour drive or hour drive, whatever it was. And I met Jordan. I remember laughing hysterically when I first saw him because he was super skinny and looked like a mixture of like Sid the Sloth and Chicken Little if they fucked and had a baby. Like that's what Jordan Oliver looked like. And like I couldn't take him serious at first. It was like he was tall and lanky and it was so weird, but it was funny. And I just remember like we came up with the match and I was just kind of like, whatever. And when we went in there, it was like magic. Like everything was smooth and he wasn't even on the independent level. He never even trained before. And it was like,
Really?
whoa, like this kid naturally had it. And like, I just remember after the match, like we kept in contact and he was like, dude, like if there's any way you can help me, like please. And I really saw something in him. And I went to the one independent company I was at and I told them, I was like, yo, listen, I have this kid. He's my age. He's about my size. So if I wrestle him, it'll actually make sense instead of me wrestling somebody that's 6'1" and like 250 pounds. I was like, can we please bring him in? And they brought him in. We killed it. And then we started like going on a lot of shows together. And then Jordan really started blowing up. I mean, I know you see him now. The kid's everywhere. Like every major promotion, that kid's at. He's even signed to MLW. And I'm like super proud of him.
Yeah, no, he's done a lot of great work, and one thing, the matches that I've seen you have against him in CZW are just like, you guys are really putting your stamp on that independent professional wrestling. I mean, you look at AEW that came in and took a lot of indie guys straight off the market, and seeing where the indie scene is at now, like pre and post coronavirus, and seeing some of the names coming up, it's very much alive and well with you guys. Like you guys, like to me, you and Jordan are guys are definitely destined for big things in this business, and you can definitely see it in the work that you put in, the promos that you put in. But one of the things I want to ask is, like, being on the independent level, how do you find the way for character development? Is it hard to do for you guys, or is it something that you've got to just keep on doing long term over time just to sort of really instill it to get known?
I mean, personally for me, I felt like it took me such a long time. Like I feel like I really didn't find myself until last year was when I finally found who I was and what fit me. When I first started, I was just kind of like myself, and but it was like a shy version of myself because I wasn't like comfortable at the time to just be myself in front of people, because growing up I was bullied very badly for loving professional wrestling. Like it was very frowned upon where I went to school. I was called every name in the book, and I was just like, man, like if kids at my school don't even like me, how the hell are 1,000 people or 100 people going to like me that I don't even know? So when I first started, I was a very shy version of myself. And then it turned out they started calling me Kid Christian because my real name is Christian. And they started calling me Kid Christian because I had a very, 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 very baby face. I was super small compared to everybody else, super skinny. I had no muscle definition at all. So I was Kid Christian for a while. And then Kid Christian was working, but I felt like I needed a character. That's where I came up with the Sugar Rush character. So I was like, oh, kids love candy, kids get hyper. I got ADHD. I'm gonna go nuts. So I come out with candy, and for a long time, like it really worked. And then it got to the point where when I wanted to start going out of the country, places out of the country didn't want to take me because of the name Kid. And it was like, man, I can't win. So then I stayed in America, and then I took the Sugar Rush thing out, and I became that kid. Like I was like, man, I'm the shit now. Like I got this. I'm 17 years old. Let's go. And then I blew my shoulder out.
Oh.
3 months. And then I just remember a lot of people coming up to me like, I think it's time you drop the kid thing. Like it's not working anymore. Like it's just not you. You look like your face is maturing. You're getting older. You're starting to gain some muscle. Like you don't look like a kid anymore. Like now it's time to take it serious. And that was the thing with out of the country. Like they didn't want to take me because my name was Kid. Like I had Kid in my name, and then it just didn't work. So I already made a brand with the name KC. Like KC was my thing. If people didn't call me Kid Christian, they were calling me KC. So I thought, all right, well maybe I'll just shrink the name. I'll keep KC because everybody already calls me that. My handle's KC Wrestles. Like I don't want to change everything because that's what usually people do. They'll change their whole name and everything. I was like, people already know me for KC. I don't want to call myself like Alex Asshole out there. Just change my name to something stupid. So I was like, I'm going to keep the KC. We're going to run with it. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to add my last name. I added my last name. I dyed my hair blonde. I was like, all right, I got a different look. I'm going to start calling myself the Sky Reaper because that was my dad's nickname in the Army because he used to jump out of helicopters and stuff like that. And they used to call him the Sky Reaper. So I took that name because I was like, yo, that's a cool high flyer name. Like Sky Reaper, let's go. Like that's perfect. And I did like a military thing for a while, and like it worked for a few months, and then it just wasn't getting over. Like it just like I was there, but it was like it would never be a main event type of character. Like it would never work. I didn't really choose personality.
Why do you think that is? Was it just because you?
So I did an Evolve tryout before I wound up blowing out my knee. I did an Evolve tryout, and one piece of feedback they gave me was show more personality. Like I sat back and like I read it, and I was like, personality? Like I'm full of personality. That's all people tell me is I'm charismatic. I got personality. And then when I would watch my matches and like really watch what I was doing, I was like, man, I wasn't really showing personality at all. Like, who was the Sky Reaper? Like I don't even know. So I wound up blowing out my knee. And I was out for another 6 months. And it was another situation where somebody wanted to take advantage of me. And it was like a 300-pound guy that did a moonsault at the top rope. And another guy pulled me under him. And he came on top of me and blew my knee out. So I was out for 6 months. And in that company that I got hurt, It was formerly known as Capital Wrestling. Now it's Catalyst Wrestling, and it was the first place where I ever worked heel, and like they put me in this gimmick, like a hot boy gimmick, and like I'm still in it, but like I told them I didn't like it. Like it didn't feel like me. I feel like that's very like cliche. Like every young, good-looking guy is a hot boy, and I was like, I'm not feeling it. So I remember coming up with the whole bless thing, and I came up with a catchphrase, and I would call my girlfriend and use the catchphrase on her. She would like curse me out and tell me to never use it again because she hated it. Would use it on my mom, my family, and all of them hated it. And I was like, well, if they hate it, I think 100 more people would hate it. So I started using the bless thing in Capital, and it started getting over, and then I got hurt. But I never took the bless thing serious because I was focused on the Sky Reaper thing. So I was out for the 6 months, and I sat back, and I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm scared to come back. And then I remember pitching it to CZW, and they were about it, but they weren't sure if it would get over either because the Sky Reaper thing didn't work. They weren't sure how the Blessed thing would work. And I was just like, please, like, trust me. Like, here's some stuff I was doing at Capitol. I don't know if you guys saw it. And they were starting to like it. And they started coming up with ideas. But at that point, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go back at CZW because I'm not sure if you remember when I was first doing my main roster run, I was on a constant losing streak and, like, never had a reason why. I was constantly getting like
jobbed out.
And at first it was like, all right, well, maybe I'm getting built up for something huge because the only reason why I got my main roster spot was because of Lio Rush. Because when Lio left on his last match before he went to NXT, his one request was for me to go on the main roster. He felt like I was ready and he wanted me to have his spot. So it was almost like him passing the torch to me. Yeah. And I remember just losing and calling up Lio going, dude, this fucking sucks. Like, I don't get it. I'd rather be in Dojo Wars. Like, I'm not getting anything out of this. And he was like, no, man, just like be patient. Because I was only like 18, so I still wasn't like fully mature or anything like that. And I was just like, I want the big stuff. I want the titles. Like, I want all the fame and all that. But like, I had to realize like, it wasn't my time. And then Cage of Death came around, and I was wrestling Jordan Oliver. And that night, I remember I was like, man, like this is it. Like I'm about to win the Wire title for the first time. I did all this losing. Like it's time. And then I just remember breaking my nose in the match, wound up losing to Jordan. I was like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Fast forward, Shane Strickland requested to wrestle me for his last CZW match, kept up with him, lost again. Then wrestled John Silver the month after, got destroyed. Like the match was like 80% to 20%. I got destroyed. I had no offense, destroyed. At that point, I was like, I'm not coming back. Like they're not doing anything with me. They killed my babyface run. Like it's not going to work. Then out of nowhere, they announced me for the WXW versus CCW show in August. And I was like, what? Like, why did you put me on the show? I remember calling DJ High, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why did you put me on the show? You never even talked to me. You don't even know if I'm okay. And then he saw that I was wrestling the day after in Tennessee. It was like my return. And he was like, well, you must be good since I see you're wrestling the night after. And I go, oh, my God. And they already announced it, so I did the show. And that night, they talked to me, and they were like, we're going to run with the Bless character. We have an idea. We're turning you heel tonight. I wound up returning. It was the biggest pop I ever got at CCW ever. And in that moment, I was like, you people are going to be pissed. Like, I just knew that, like, in my mind. Wound up losing the match again. Mm-hmm. They gave me an interview. And I punched the shit out of the interview woman and walked away. And the crowd just, like, booed me out of the building. Next thing you know, the next time they saw me, I had an entourage of guys. And I was blessed. They hated my entourage. And then more and more, CZW started letting me show, like, my whole persona. What is blessed? Why am I saying I'm blessed? And people started hating it, like, way faster than anybody thought. Like I thought, okay, it's going to be a good year until I get super over as a heel. I don't really play heel that often. But, dude, like, I got heat super quick. Like, it was instant, like a fire. Like, as if the fans were all gasoline, I walked out, I was the fire, and then the whole place just erupted. Like, that's what it felt like. And then, like, it was just moving faster and faster. And then plans started changing because I was getting over so quick. Like, they were hating me so fast that plans started switching from what was supposed to happen in a year, wound up happening in, like, 4 months. So, like, I got to cut my time down by being me. And I realized that the whole blessed thing was me. It was a word that I always used for myself. I knew how to do it as a heel. I knew how to do it as a baby face. It actually got over with Johnny Gargano when he met me and saw me do the character one. It's him and Tommaso Ciampa loved the character. So that was the moment, too, where I was like, all right, well, this might work. And then next thing you know, people are coming up to me going, oh, yo, I'm blessed. Yo, you're blessed. Like, I feel talking to you. Like, it was like, what the hell? Like, I didn't think it was gonna like blow up like that. And now like I do like these Instagram lives every Tuesday and Thursday, and these next to be blessed things are like huge. And like kids come on, they send their like, I have like this little angel emoji because fans will send in emojis so I can pick them to be part of the live. And then they're coming in, they're like, oh my God, I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't believe like I like really like got to people's hearts like that with this character. So it took me like 4.5 years, 5 years to really like find out who I was.
Yeah, look, you mentioned making your CZW main roster debut, and I just wanted to ask, and going through that losing streak, and I understand. Look, you were 18 years old at the time, and and for you now to even say, look, I may have been a little bit immature to really understand what was going on.
Right.
But in those losses, and I've seen quite a few of those matches, and look, pro wrestling, we're not going to sit here and say pro wrestling is 100% real. It's not. It's definitely not fake. It's a predetermined out sport where it's a display of a simulated fight, essentially.
Right, for sure.
But, wins and losses are one thing, that in some of those matches that you had losses, it didn't damage your, to me, I didn't sit there and go, oh, well, I mean? Like, it wasn't like you were just jobbed out a lot of the time. And it was like, well, it was something like, I was like, oh, wow, I want to see more of this kid, or, this KC guy.
It really got to the point that, like,
seems like we've just had Casey drop out for a little bit, but he will be back here very soon. Casey Navarro is the current CZW Wired television champion, and he's just popped out, but I'm sure he'll be back in very soon. We can hear him, we can't see him, but he's going to be coming back very soon, I'm sure. Casey, you there, buddy?
Yeah, can you guys see me? I don't know what happened.
No, we can't see you, but we can hear you, but we can't see you. Why don't you try disconnecting and jumping back in?
Yeah, let me try that.
All right, buddy. Yeah, so look, guys, we're having a great time here talking with Casey Navarro. He's just needing to jump out and we'll come back in. But we've been talking about his CZW career. We've been talking about how he got into Dojo Wars and his career. He's also the younger brother of former Impact Wrestling star Diamante, and telling us about how he got into and obviously the advice he's been getting there and being supported by others such as Leo Rush over his career. So we've got him back here now, Casey. Yeah. There he is. He's back.
All right.
We're blessed 2 times. We're blessed 2 times.
I had to call up my brother God and be like, come on, bless them right now. Help me. And bam, we're back.
So Casey, you an ECW fan, bro?
A little bit. I mean, I grew up like in the fake ECW era, like the 2000 era.
You ever watched the original ECW?
I've seen some stuff.
This is a man called Angel Medina. He's a friend of mine, and he is the former leader of the Baldies from ECW. They had a massive feud with New Jack, but he's throwing down a challenge to you, Casey, saying he wants to challenge you for the title.
Wait. Baldy, you want a shot at this? You need to be blessed, man. Okay. All right. You book it. You got your match, okay? So listen, man, I'm not saying you're going to get a win, but you're going to walk out with something. You know what that is? You're going to be blessed. Bam! That's what you're going to get.
Well, Angel, the challenge has been accepted, but but what we were talking about is, with the matches that you went through on your losing, or on that streak of losing, right. Did you walk away with anything from it? Did you walk away with extra experience or extra knowledge or something from those matches?
So in those matches, like, I did realize that it was really building me as a big baby face. Like, it got to the point where, like, fans wanted to see me win. Like, that's what they were waiting for. Like, it was just like lose, but they wanted to see that big baby face payoff. I was very lucky to wrestle really good people, get to learn a lot from a lot of those people. I had about 2 or 3 Wired title matches during that time. So I had like big pressure matches in that short time. But like, I just feel like it made me really mature because I was very impatient. I was like, man, like, I want the W. I want the title. I'm fighting for this title all the time. in the interviews, I'm saying, oh, I need to become the Wire champion. Like, they were shoot. Like, I was like, man, nah, like, I'm not done chasing after that belt. Like, I'm going to become the Wire champion. I remember walking up to DJ High going, dude, I'm taking that belt. Like, watch me do it. So, like, it was no secret. But, like, it definitely made me mature, for sure. That whole losing streak, it made me patient because I was very impatient. So it made me very patient and very mature.
Yeah. And I think like every young wrestler really needs to sort of understand that at some stage of their career, it's not that, that there's anything against you. It's not that there's someone trying to bury you. It's just that you need to get some reps under your belt, and that's the sort of build up to it. And, sometimes in wrestling, it's a slow burn, or in your case, once you sort of took on the Blessed character and turned heel, it became a very quick burn. And that's what you started to see a lot in. But what do you prefer to wrestle, babyface or heel?
Honestly, now with this character, I like being heel. I feel like it's more of an arrogant, cocky character compared to a really good guy. When I do a good guy, I kind of like just stay as myself and then just say, oh, you're blessed. Oh, this place is blessed now. Da, 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 da. And like all happy. But I feel like I really get in my zone with this character when I'm an asshole. Like if I'm an asshole with this character, like I just know how to piss people off better using like my wording and cutting promos and stuff like that. Like my catchphrases, I feel like are more heel compared to babyface. So I am now 100% like I prefer being a heel over a babyface for sure.
Yeah, I think as well with heel, it really and probably from the independent level, it really gives you guys a chance to challenge yourself. And I think anyone can really come out and smile and high five the crowd and sort of get that real cookie cutter babyface reaction.
Right.
But to go out and get like legit heat and and to see what you've gotten, and as you said, when you punch the interviewer in the face, and you're seeing like you're having a lot of fun with this character, and it's definitely showing on screen what you're putting out there. So, I'm definitely a big fan of it. But have you found like facing guys like AR Fox and guys like that, guys that have been established, and been veterans, on the scene for quite some time, you actually got to beat AR Fox for the title. How was that match really put together, and when was it decided that they were going to be giving you such a strong push, and also with the title?
So it was very up in the air because at first, if I'm remembering all the plans correctly, I mean we're already in the new plan, so who cares about the old plan? But if I'm remembering everything correctly, Cage of Death this past year, I was not supposed to win. I wasn't going to get pinned, but I wasn't supposed to win either. Like, I was not supposed to win the Wire title still. It was going to get pushed back. AR Fox wasn't even supposed to win the Wire title, if I'm remembering that correctly. And then I just wound up getting so much heat, and I was using that number 21 to my advantage. Because 21 is my favorite number. It's my lucky number. I'm born on July 21st. So I have a whole big deal with the number 21. And I remember when they had me do the interview after I lost my one match. It was the show before Cage of Death. And I knew what I was doing. I already knew the plan. I knew I was not winning and everything. And I remember just in that promo going, well, 21 is my favorite number. And last year I lost, but I'm going to rewrite history this year. And I'm going to win a Cage of Death 21. I'm going to go to CZW 21, and I'm going to become the Wire champion, because that match at Cage of Death was for a number one contender spot to fight the champ at CZW 21. And I guess from that promo, and it got so much reactions from the office, from the fans, that the night that we started putting the match together at Cage of Death, we asked the guy that was winning to go and find out how much time we had. He went, he came back and said that I was winning. And I was like, what do you mean? We already came up with the match. And now we had to like switch up the whole ending and stuff. Next thing you know, I find out that AR Fox beats Jordan Oliver a few matches after me. And I'm like, wait a second. So we're not doing Casey versus Jordan part 2 or part 3 or whatever it was, CCW?
Yeah.
And then DJ was like, I think you're ready to face Fox, and I think it could be a really good match. And then it was that night at CCW 21 where they came up to me and they were like, you've been through a lot of stuff here. You really put in the work. Your character's phenomenal. It's time. And that's when they decided they were going to make me the Wire champion. And it was It was a very huge moment for me because I just went through so much BS to go through, like to get to that moment. And me and Fox faced off. I mean, Fox was super excited. I had worked Fox 2 times before. One time at CCW in a ladder match, and another time at another company I wrestled for called What in Rhode Island. And Fox became a really big fan of me, so he was very excited and very actually honored to drop the belt to me to help me, go higher in my career. And I just remember like going up to Fox, like, dude, like, this is it, man. Like, I'm ready to learn from you. Like, this is our first one-on-one. Like, what do you want to do? And he was all about my ideas. Me and him really meshed well together. And it was just a fun match. And I just remember all the "this is awesome" chants we got during that match. And like, people like loved the match. And it wasn't even like really spotty. It was like, yeah, we did like a couple things, but it all like meant something instead of it just being like a spot fest the whole time. And I think that's what the fans loved, because I think when they saw me and him, they expected like constant drop down leapfrog, flip dive. Like I feel like they expected that, and we gave them that, but we gave it to them where we knew the time was right, and they were really into it. And when I beat him, I got booed, and those fans were not happy. And it was in that moment where I was like, "Fuck! Like this is the character. This is what we're staying with." Like. I just did my job. Like, it was the first time I was able to look up and be like, as a heel, yo, I just did my job. Like, these people hate me. They're flipping me off. They're mad. Dude, it was to the point that when I won the belt, they needed me to take pictures with it. And I had a whole group, and then there was some by myself. Fans were not even paying attention to the match after mine. They were peeking behind the curtain, cursing me off while I was taking my pictures.
That's incredible.
I just remember looking at the guys like, yo, they hate me. Like, and it's weird. Like, you would think like, man, they hate me. That sucks, but like I was happy as hell that they hated me because
you did your job as a heel. Your job as a heel to get heat.
And it was great, man. And now a fan actually just messaged me that I think is Monday the 18th. I think Monday's the 18th, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be I'm gonna be holding this for 100 days, and I never even defended it.
Blessed.
I was just telling my one friend today, I was like, dude, I am sure I'm going to be the longest reigning champ that never defended his title. Like, I'm sure if this pandemic rolls on, I'm going to be the longest reigning champ, I think, at one point.
Did you say your one and only friend?
Oh, did I say that? Well, they're my good friends.
I'm like, oh, Casey, I'll be your friend, buddy.
You can be my friend.
I'll be your friend, buddy. Sure, why not? Why not? We'll be friends. But winning the CZW title, and obviously going over in a match against AR Fox, who is a very established guy. Did he give you any advice after the match? How supportive of he was he? Obviously putting the match together and assisting with. Was he the one calling the match? Were you calling it? How did it work?
It was very 50-50. We both like put in enough ideas. He was very proud of the match after it was over. He was very proud of me. He said that I really deserved the belt because he saw some of the stuff I was going through. And he like kind of thought back to when he first started and like kind of like compared the two, and he thought it was really good. And he was just like very motivating for me. And he just told me not to stop, to keep the blessed thing going, that he loved it. He said that he thinks that this is going to be the character that's going to take me to another level because I'm obviously very comfortable in it. I don't seem off. Like, and like I tell a lot of people, I'm like, because little do you know, like, that's me turned up acting like an asshole instead of a nice guy. So like it fits, like it works for me. And he was just all about it, and he just wants to see me succeed. Like, and if I ever needed advice, or if I was ever in Atlanta and wanted to train at a school, like the doors were always open for me. So that was the coolest thing from AR Fox for me.
That's incredible, and that's such a thing for him to sort of do, and for you to walk away with the belt. But let's talk about the Wired Championship, and look, as we said, professional wrestling, the titles, they do mean something because they're putting something on you because they see an investment in you. They see that you can bring money into the company and that you're the guy to carry a title for that business. How does it feel for you to, obviously, you were a Dojo Wars guy, you've come through there, you've paid your dues through CCW. How does it feel to hold a title that has been held by, you look at guys like Drew Gulak, Leo Rush, Joey Janela, Dave Christ, Jake Christ. The list goes on and on of such greats that have held that title. How does it, what does it mean to you to be able to hold that title and to represent CZW and the Wide Championship?
It legit meant everything to me. Like, I remember coming through the curtain, looking at the title, thinking about all the BS I went through in my whole career. Because I don't know if you know this, but when I was 15, I only trained for 4 months and got kicked out of wrestling school. The coach at the time said that I was not humble, I was untrainable, and I would never make it anywhere in wrestling.
Wow, that's a hurtful thing to say to a kid, though.
And I was only 15 years old, and where the facility was not in a very good area either. So, like, kicking out a 15-year-old, it's not like I can hop in my own car and drive home. My parents were dropping me off.
Yeah.
And I just remember that. And a lot of people even tell you it wasn't about me not being humble. It was that I was very immature and I didn't understand. I was a 15-year-old kid,
Yeah.
And instead of him being a trainer and, helping me and guiding me, he kicked me out and took my money and did not care. And I remember using that motivation to get me to where I am. And it was really guys like Leo Rush and Shane Strickland that motivated me to go for this belt, especially Leo. Leo was a very big influence on my career, a mentor to me. I talk to Leo all the time, and he's always been there for me personally and professionally. And I just remember the first time I met Leo, he was the Wired champion. And, seeing all the success he had. And I was like, man, if I win that belt, maybe I'll have that same success. And when he passed that torch to me that last night before he went to NXT, that was a big deal to me. And I remember looking at him going, dude, I'm going to win that Wire title for you. I'm going to do this for you. Took me almost 2 years. And then I wrestled Shane Strickland before he went to NXT because that was his last match at CZW. And I remember telling him, dude, I'm doing this for you. First thing I did when I was done after that match was call them both. And just the emotion from both of them and how proud they were, that's what meant everything to me. Because then I knew, I did my job here. I set out and did what I said I was going to do. And they put it over all over social media. Leo was commenting on my stuff constantly. He was posting about it. He was happy for me. He was texting me. And even when I showed up on his, he was doing a live with Leo thing during Mania week for the indie guys that lost work during WrestleMania week because WrestleMania got canceled. And I was one of the guys he chose to be on there. And one of the first things I did, because it was the first time I really FaceTimed him since I won the belt. And I pulled out the belt and he got super excited and he was like, yes, you deserve that. You have no idea how happy I am. And just that, it just meant everything to me because I only wanted to do it for those two guys. I wanted to win this belt for those two guys because those are two guys that have had this belt before. So to me, this belt had a lot of meaning to it. And guys like you said, Drew Gulak, who was another guy that gave me advice a lot in my career, and Janela, another guy that I've wrestled a couple times, and another big influence on my career. So it was really cool to win a title that has so much meaning to all those guys and for wrestling as a whole. There's a lot of people. I remember when I won the belt and all the major companies that hit me up, I was like, wow, this isn't just an indie belt. This is a real belt. This is a real title. This title obviously means something if all these promotions that are huge, that all the major stars are at, these companies didn't care about me before. I got this belt now. Now they want me on their show. All right, this got some magic to it. This belt is really blessed. This belt is blessing me with bookings. All right, I'll take it. So this belt really means everything to me because I feel like it was also this belt that took my career to another level.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And you make mention of companies reaching out to you now, and you finding, obviously, let's go pre-pandemic, but obviously you're starting to really establish yourself. Are you getting promotions more coming to you quite often that you hadn't worked for and saying, hey, look, we want to book you, we want to get you on the show? Have you found that starting to happen more and more?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it really started, the email started kind of ending once the whole pandemic started because now people don't know when their next show is going to be, they don't know what they're going to be able to afford. So but before that, man, it was a lot of companies from places I've never even wrestled for. I'm going to Gibraltar if the pandemic ends in December or November. I'm going to Spain. That's nuts. I've never been out of the country before. And they're bringing me in that I'm supposed to go on I was supposed to go on a tour with England, and I was supposed to go over to Chicago. I was supposed to be going to LA. I've never been to LA. I was supposed to be going to Texas. I had a lot of places hit me up from all over. And it was so cool. And then this whole pandemic happened. But Yeah, like before this pandemic, I was starting to get like a lot of bookings, and it was like really cool. But now, like everything kind of like slowed down, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, obviously, hopefully it doesn't continue to go on. But Casey, as we're sort of winding near the end of the interview, I made a mention that we're going to play a little game, and it's
Right.
called Guess the Aussie Slang. So you've already answered the question that I was going to ask: have you ever been to Australia? But you've never left the country. But you are a international sensation. You know, you are known around the world, and one day I'm sure we'll be seeing you here in Australia
Sure.
and competing. But one of the things that we're going to do is called Guess the Aussie Slang. Okay, so when you do come to Australia, you'll be able to have a few slang words. And if you hear, you understand what the fuck that we're talking about, essentially.
Okay.
So, all right, you ready for this?
Yep.
All right. Hey, Casey, you want to come and get on the piss?
On the piss?
Yeah, you want to? Yeah, let's get on the piss. What are we going to get on?
I don't. Let's get on the piss. Horse, car. I don't know.
It means let's go drinking. Like let's go drink beer.
I was gonna say the bar. Like that was my next thing. I was going to the bar. Like, oh man, I should have said that first. Damn. Okay.
All right. Here's another one. Scarring on, mate.
What's going on?
Yeah, scarring on. What's going on? Yeah.
All right.
Oh, mate, my kids were up at a sparrow's fart this morning.
Crack of dawn.
Yeah, very, very early on. Jeez, man, we're gonna have to make you an honorary Aussie, I think. But all right, let's keep going. Let's go through. Keep doing it. Oh shit, my dad's at the pool and he's wearing his budgie smuggler.
Speedo. Is he wearing Speedo? Is he wearing a?
Correct.
Oh, what? I'm right.
Oh. You are very blessed. You are very blessed. Okay, let's go a couple more.
All right.
Okay. Give us a dart.
Give us
a dart.
Dart. Is it just a dart? Is it dart? Dart? Oh,
Cigarette. Okay, so we've got another one. My mate is such a bogan. What's a bogan?
Annoying.
No, so a bogan is what you call like a really Aussie person. So like, okay, so this is how a bogan would talk. Yeah, mate, how you going? I'm gonna fucking go down the pub, have a couple of schooners, and fucking probably bet on some horses and that, and maybe come back and have a steak and go to bed. That's an Aussie bogan talking. So.
Okay.
Okay. Taking the piss.
Taking the piss?
Yeah. Like if I said, Casey, are you taking the piss, mate?
Taking the piss? Am I taking a drink?
No, it means that, like, are you having me on? Are you serious? Like, are you taking the piss out of me? Like, you trying to make me look stupid? Are you taking the piss? All right. So, all right. Another one that we always do is, I need to go to the servo to fill up. What do I need to go to the servo, and what am I filling up?
Gas station. You have to go to the gas station. Let's go.
That has been the Aussie slang game. Casey Navarro, you are an honorary Australian. You will sit here and be able to get away, and you'll have no problems down here under, man.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait now.
So, Casey, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and support you?
All right. Well, if you look right over my shoulder right here on this fancy schmancy poster, you can find me at Casey Russell's on everything: Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, even YouTube. You can catch my Instagram lives with new Impact superstar Tasha Steeles every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Thursdays, we bring on guests from either WWE or Impact. Some of my friends I like to bring on to kind of interview on there for the fans. And, yeah, you guys can find me at Casey Russell's on everything and ProWrestlingTees.com/Casey Russell's. Get your merch. Get your CZW is Blessed t-shirt and all the new good stuff that's on there, man.
Absolutely. And you know what? We'll get all those links at the end of the interview and we'll post it up in our Facebook group and in the comments on YouTube as well. But guys, this has been Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, Piers Austin from Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance. We have been coming to you live. Casey, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, please make sure to click subscribe somewhere along there. Hit those alerts so you don't miss out on any of our content that we're releasing. And Casey, again, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure talking to you, my man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you wanting to bring me on and talk to me, man. I'm really blessed that you guys brought me on, and I really appreciate it. Hope we can do it again.
Absolutely, brother. Anytime. You got an open invite. But guys, until next time, take it easy and be good to your mums.
Stay blessed.